Welcome to Sanctuary, a realm born from divine intervention, abyssal evils, and indomitable spirits. This is the stage of our adventure. We begin in Baelyss, a sprawling continent of diverse terrains and denizens, surrounded by three mighty nations, the Elven Ecumen Empire, the troubled kingdom of Atlgrad, and the dwarven stronghold of Teriani. Allow me to introduce the first five of our heroes. Cubo Aganwa. As a turtle Cubo fought for his life, the moment it began. Hatching amidst a harrowing storm, he saw many of his newborn siblings swept far out into the swirling sea from their nest on the beach. Soon the same fate fell upon Cubo, and he was swept into the massive swells. Rescued and raised by a monk named Needle, Cubo's upbringing was made difficult by his adoptive father's struggle with a rare form of lycanthropy, leading to their exile and eventual settlement in the sewers of Corona. Cubo still dreams of returning to that beach where he hatched, longing to be reunited with his lost siblings. Cubo and his found family had lived peacefully in the sewer, until recently when the Thieves' Guild started expanding. With increased traffic in the sewers, Cubo and his brothers began training with Needle, and he began to teach them to defend themselves in the way of the astral self. However, their tranquility was shattered when Cubo was ambushed by an unseen assailant, knocking him unconscious. Flint Fireforge. Born in the dwarven capital Teriani, Flint was considered a genius inventor and skilled smith, with a passion for creation from an early age. Flint immersed himself in gnomish teachings and swiftly learned the art of artifice. Gloria, Flint's mother, was a cleric of Abathor who traveled the world spreading the gospel of the jeweled prince. She met Dunin, a burly barbarian, and they soon became inseparable, going on many adventures before settling down in Teriani to start a family and forge. Tragedy struck years later, when an ancient temple of Abathor was discovered in the Underdark deep beneath the city, leading Gloria and Dunin to investigate, only to perish along with several others due to the compromised tunnel systems. A grieving Flint was forced to sell his family's shop and found solace in gambling, eventually leading to insurmountable debts to the Platt family. Now on the run, Flint seeks redemption and a fresh start, only to find himself ambushed on the road and knocked unconscious. Alaric Brightleaf. Born to a human mother and elven father in Brunswick, Alaric endured a tumultuous upbringing marked by his father's abandonment and his mother's unwavering devotion to Melora. Their lives intersected with the brutality of the Crimson Crusades, witnessing the destruction of their temple and the loss of many to the corrupt city guard. After losing his mother to a strange illness, Alaric joined the resistance against the city's corruption, receiving training from Caspar Enderket, a paladin of Asmodeus. When the Crusades finally ended, Alaric became resentful when the actions of the corrupt guards were all forgiven, the kingdom desperate to return to normalcy. Alaric left Brunswick, determined to one day return and bring justice to the monsters that terrorized his city for so long. Alone once more, his fate takes a sinister turn when he's rendered unconscious after being attacked while aiding a disabled wagon on the road. Riva Crowspark. A human born in the colony of Strom, Riva experienced tragedy early on as his family's hamlet was attacked by orcish raiders. They were saved by Silver Talon agents passing through while escorting Rhistal Elarin, Lord of Venusia. Lord Elarin took Riva in as his ward, training him in archery as one of his personal guards. Riva formed a strong sibling-like bond with Rhistal's daughter, Teriani, causing resentment from the Lord's wife, who always saw Riva as an outsider. Their lives were interrupted as an object crashed down from the heavens into a nearby farm, resulting in strange phenomena with the crops around the crash site and leaving the farmer suffering a strange illness. Lord Elarin and his advisor Viceroy Tessarian Eodwulf debated on how to handle the situation, Eodwulf advocating for study within Venusia, while Elarin insisted on bringing it to the attention of the king. However, the benevolent lord was found murdered before he could inform anyone else. While wrestling with guilt over being unable to protect his lord, Riva was confronted by cloaked figures catching him off guard and knocking him unconscious. and Toddington. As an Aasimar from the Kingdom of Astora near the Veritas Mountains in Ishtar, Todd descends from a long line of legendary paladins dedicated to the mighty Stormlord Tempus. Todd has always felt a calling towards Melora, another deity, and strived to heal and help wherever he could. This contrasted sharply with the aggressive nature of his older brother Grodd, who had left on a long-term pilgrimage to Baelyss. Todd's newfound devotion to the Wild Mother alienated him from his family, who strongly disapproved of his new religion. In an effort to restore the relationship with his family, Todd agreed to go to Baelyss and help his brother with the family quest to find and return the Blades of Tempus to their ancestral home back in Ishtar. Arriving in this new land, Todd decided to preach about the teachings of Melora, hoping to spread her message of harmony with nature. As he spoke passionately to a small gathering in a bustling marketplace, Todd suddenly found himself confronted by hooded figures. Caught off guard, Todd lost consciousness in the attack. In a nod to an iconic moment familiar to many adventurers, the first 5 of our tale awaken suddenly to find themselves chained within the confines of a wagon. Victims of happenstance caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, each taken from different corners of the continent. Banding together and breaking free from their orcish captors, these strangers then discovered the reason for their capture. A bounty with their names commissioned by a mysterious Lord Barriston. This previously unheard of patron had ordered these specific individuals to be captured from across the continent and be brought to Brunswick. This initial event would forever bind the fates of these individuals, later dubbed the Butterfly Tattoo Murder Club, a name that would later echo in ballads across the realms. Though their bonds were just beginning to be forged, there still was a palpable absence. Somewhere, amidst the vast landscapes of Baelyss, a 6th hero stirs, destined to cross paths with our adventurers. This shadowy figure promises to bring a balance to our heroes, offering a strength that lies not in brute force, but in the subtlety of the night and the cunning it bestows. Together, their saga will be one of unity, where light and shadow converge in the heart of adventure. Their arrival is anticipated, for it is together, as a full fellowship of 6, that they would seize their destiny and go on to save the very cosmos. Commandeering the wagon previously holding them, the party traveled north, driven by 2 large Ordorm they named Bert and Shirley. They faced an army of wolves led by a corrupted hermit in the abandoned Benson Manor, dealt with an orcish invasion in Erlenwald, and adopted an owlbear egg. Continuing north, the BTMC explored Osrin, where Alaric was briefly petrified after losing a wager in a gambling hall, aptly named the Basilisk's Den. That night, they encountered the Blessed Motley, a seedy band of mercenaries Alaric used to run with. They were introduced to their newest member, Grodd Toddington, Todd's brother, who fit right in with the miscreants. They had a tense conversation, warning the BTMC. They were well aware of a large bounty on Flint and were eager to use it against the BTMC should they get in their way. Continuing the journey to Brunswick, Alaric had a vision of a divine golden stag leading the party to a long-forgotten temple of Tempus. Inside the temple, they found a map to a small, uninhabited island in the middle of the Shattered Isles. The party would later discover this map to lead them to the location of Cubo's biological family, as well as a powerful artifact known as a divine vestige. Now arriving in Torbin, Riva received word that Viceroy Tessarian Eadwulf had taken control of Venusia in the absence of the assassinated Lord Rhistal Elarin. Newly motivated with what they saw as a more pressing issue, the BTMC then sold their wagon and chartered an airship to travel southeast to Venusia to rescue Lord Elarin's daughter Teriani from the tyrant. Boarding the skyscraper, the party encountered a tiefling stowaway named Oriax and faced further complications as he jumped ship with a large supply of narcotics and flew off with an enchanted cloak. In exchange for continued passage to Venusia, they agreed to assist the crew of the skyship in obtaining golden honey from giant fig wasp hives. Upon reaching Venusia, the party discovered Teriani was missing and had run off into the wilderness on her own. Sneaking around the city to find clues, they were confronted at knife point by a close friend of Riva's, Rilyanna Tandor, originally from the Drow tribe of the Lunar Forest, survived a devastating attack on her people by the dwarves of the Platt family. forcing her to flee and eventually find refuge in Venusia under Lord Elarin's guidance. Rilyanna trained alongside Riva on the Ecumane Guard, where she excelled in swordplay and was poised to join the elite order of the Silver Talon. During her training, she learned to harness a power long held by her people, summoning a shadowy manifestation that bridges the gap between the material plane and the Shadowfell known as Veil. However, Lord Elarin's assassination shifted the power dynamics in Venusia, with Viceroy Eodwulf removing Rilyanna from the Guard. Forced to join the Iron Legion as a bounty hunter, Rilyanna now secretly investigates the plot suspected of her tribe's capture. Overhearing members of the Silver Talon searching for Riva in connection to Lord Elarin's assassination, Rilyanna confronted Riva over his involvement. After he sufficiently explained himself and the situation, Rilyanna agreed to join the BTMC to help find Teriani and help them investigate this strange bounty. Her inclusion not only strengthened the group's combat prowess, but also would be crucial in navigating the challenges that lay ahead. Rilyanna's personal vendetta against the Platt family and her unique abilities brought a new depth to the party's capabilities. The BTMC, now at full strength, followed Teriani's tracks through Myrtle's Marsh, where they found her held captive by the Coven of Hags, responsible for the string of missing children in Venusia. After rescuing Teriani from the Hags, they discovered a strange gem embedded in her chest. This prompted them to travel to Corona and visit Needle, Cubo's master and adoptive father, to receive guidance on their situation. Before leaving, the group searched Lord Rhistal Elarin's estate, discovering the Lord's journal. The journal contained several entries from Lord Elarin detailing his past, where the party was able to piece together the identity of Alaric's father to be none other than Lord Rhistal Elarin. Within the journal, they also found Lord Elarin's suspicions of Viceroy Tessarian Eodwulf working with a sinister cult called the Church of the Deep Sky. In a revelation that shook the very foundations of their quest, the BTMC unearthed the startling truth that the Lord Barriston hunting them was not a singular entity, but rather a collective title for the 9 cult leaders. Still unsure of what this cult might want, they continued on to Corona, the capital of the Elven Ecumen Empire. On the way, the BTMC were ambushed by a pack of Wyvern that managed to kill the captain of the skyship and seriously wound many of those on board. With the passing of the previous captain, the chain of command naturally fell to Myles Stonetree, formerly the first mate. Accepting his new role, Myles decided to remain with the BTMC as their pilot and chef, following the divine guidance provided by his beans. The beans never lie. After a brief bit of convincing, the airship's powder monkey, Boblin the Goblin, also decided to continue on in service of the BTMC as Flint's assistant and apprentice. A few days of travel later, the numbers of the BTMC continued to grow as the owlbear egg Cubo had been nurturing finally hatched. This gorgeous and ferocious creature was named Chauncey and bonded quickly with both Cubo and Teriani. After a quick detour to Vaxport to offload some narcotics to the Gelthun crime syndicate, the BTMC arrived in Corona, Cubo's hometown. While Needle investigated Teriani, the BTMC explored Corona and participated in the Gondwana tournament, taking first place and earning themselves a keep. Later in the week, the Blessed Motley confronted them, leading to a bloody encounter in which the Butterfly Tattoo Murder Club killed all of the Blessed Motley, and Todd claimed his family sword from his dead brother. Now wielding Thunderfang, a mighty sword meant for a devout follower of Tempus, Toddington had acquired the BTMC's first divine vestige. Shortly after, the BTMC were detained by the Order of the Silver Talon, a royally appointed guild for highly sensitive matters of national security. The BTMC faced interrogation regarding their alleged involvement in the assassination of Lord Rhistal Elarin and their harboring of Riva, the primary suspect. After clearing their names, they met with King Matthias Charmont and his council, presenting their evidence. Despite council reluctance, King Charmont agreed to investigate Tessarian Eodwulf and the organization the Church of the Deep Sky. Delegating the investigation to Silver Talon agents, the BTMC set off eastward to a new continent, the Shattered Isles, following the map they previously discovered to search for another powerful artifact and uncover Cubo's biological family history. Waylaid by a violent tempest, the BTMC were forced to seek refuge on a desolate island dominated by a colossal lighthouse. Shortly after docking, they found the island overrun by undead, guarding an abyssal artifact called the Orb of Dread. Defeating the undead and absconding with the artifact, the BTMC continued their journey on to the Affluvian atoll, where they would finally uncover Cubo's celestial lineage. Finding the island seemingly uninhabited, they uncovered traces of a powerful ritual that hinted at a dark pact made long ago. Deep in the heart of the island, they were unwittingly drawn into a sinister scheme of ancient prophecies and forgotten lore. The BTMC, influenced by the chaos of the abyssal artifact, inadvertently released the avatar of Nyarlathotep onto the unsuspecting plains. Arriving from the clouds, Cubo's people, the Grún Cathor, quickly returned and attempted to help the BTMC reseal this abomination, but were unsuccessful as the abyssal entity escaped. Following this battle, the chieftain of the Grún Cathor approached Cubo and began to unravel many things about their celestial heritage to both Tempus and Melora. They also learned that Cubo was kidnapped as a hatchling by his master, Needle, rather than being rescued as previously believed. The chieftain then guided them to their second divine vestige, the Bands of the Storm, now wielded by Cubo, capable of aiding in the battle against the avatar of Nyarlathotep. Having acquired a helm of teleportation, the BTMC's next move was to immediately travel back to Corona, confronting Needle for his deception. However, they were interrupted as the avatar of Nyarlathotep arrived, opening a void gate in the heart of the king's palace, killing tens of thousands of civilians. Needle confronted the horde head-on, giving his life to allow time for the BTMC to escape through the sewers. Outside of Corona, the party experienced vivid dreams and learned of the distant destruction in Brunswick brought on by another void gate with an abyssal Tarrasque. With the Church of the Deep Sky's plan of abyssal assimilation now in full motion, the BTMC teleported to Pike to rendezvous with Myles and the rest of the crew back on board the skyship to escape this ongoing abyssal onslaught and figure out what they could do to try and stop it. After resupplying, the BTMC set off in search of more divine vestiges to save the realm of Sanctuary from the ongoing abyssal invasion. They traveled west over the Aquan expanse, guided by an increasing number of prophetic dreams, reaching the Ishtari kingdom of Tavar, where they met Inca, an orc spiritual leader, and uncovered the manipulations of the Gold Lightning Agency over the orcish motherlands. Infiltrating the agency's pyramid headquarters, they discovered plans to attack an excavation site and destroy a sacred artifact of Paylor. Battling hordes of undead, they faced Ilmontrix, the leader of the Gold Lightning Agency and Omnastral of the Church of the Deep Sky. After defeating them, they acquired a thorium crystal to enhance the skyscraper's arcane capabilities. Following the intel gathered from Tavar, the BTMC traveled to an excavation site deep in the Vartuan desert to obtain their third divine vestige, Honor's Last Stand. Mopping up the remaining Gold Lightning Agency forces, the BTMC went inside the excavated Temple of Paylor, where they were tested by Eos the Sphinx. Passing the test, Riva obtained Honor's Last Stand and unlocked latent abilities for the BTMC. As the progeny of Ioun, Goddess of Knowledge, Eos was able to uncover the motive behind the BTMC's initial abduction and the patrons who commissioned it. They learned the Church of the Deep Sky has spent ages infiltrating many of the highest organizations across Sanctuary. Wielding a palantir stolen from Rilyanna's people, the Church of the Deep Sky foresaw their defeat by the BTMC and sought to eradicate them early. Now that the avatar of Nyarlathotep has been released, their sinister machinations have finally become reality as they work to conquer the realms in the name of their horrific deity. With the abyssal shard in Teriani's chest beginning to worsen, the BTMC followed their divine visions to the east towards the Endless Wood in search of treatment and additional celestial artifacts. Before leaving, the BTMC invested funds to the Tavari orcs to help them recover from their time in bondage and raise an army for the coming abyssal onslaught. Shortly into their voyage, they were attacked by an ancient gold dragon known as Apophis, the gilded tyrant dragon, resulting in many grave injuries and forcing them to retreat via experimental teleportation. Arriving in the Endless Wood, the BTMC found lumberjacks employed by the Platt family in the process of destroying the sacred forest to harvest its unique magical lumber. After confronting and disposing of a group of lumberjacks, the BTMC met the Emishi tribe, a society of drow that worships the primordial spirit of the forest and have vowed to protect the Endless Wood. After earning the tribe's trust, they were invited to experience the great forest spirit's cosmic dance, blessing their quest and providing guidance through the Endless Wood. Newly blessed, the BTMC continued their pilgrimage, eventually arriving in the Evermoon Glade, the spiritual center of the forest. Here they held off waves of Platt forces as the great forest spirit worked to cure Teriani of her abyssal infection. The Void Shard, once firmly implanted in Teriani's chest, collided with another Void Shard in Rhistal's possession to form the abyssal vestige, Event Horizon. As the remnants of the Platt forces were extinguished by the Emishi tribe, the great forest spirit judged Alaric worthy and granted him a primordial vestige, the Antlers of the Deepwood. Taking advantage of the abilities gained from the Antlers of the Deepwood, the BTMC established a new home base within this demi-plane. Utilizing a ritual taught to them by the Emishi tribe, the BTMC acquired materials to establish permanent teleportation points to the Deepwood with the Emishi tribe in the Endless Wood, and the Groon Cathor in the Affluvian atoll. Todd took this opportunity to use the Helm of Teleportation to travel to his hometown Astora in the north of Ishtar to try and warn his estranged family of a coming starfall, a cosmic event they learned about in the Gold Lightning Agency headquarters. The starfall, a manifestation of cosmic chaos from the abyss, hurtles towards the mortal realm as a solid swirling mass of malevolent energy, leaving shattered realities in its wake. The very same event that directly led to the assassination of Lord Elarin. The Deepsky Church eagerly awaits its arrival, seeking to harness its power through twisted rituals to open more void gates. Unfortunately, Todd's family refused to hear his warnings after learning of the death of his brother Grod. With a renewed banishment, Todd went back to regroup with the BTMC. After a short reprieve, the BTMC continued on their quest to Thorin, nestled in the hollow melodic mountains. Following Flint's dreams of his parents needing rescue somewhere in the depths of the Underdark, the BTMC gathered intel around Thorin and set off to find them. Following guide stones left by Flint's mother more than a decade ago, the party traversed through ever deeper layers of the Underdark, eventually rediscovering the Foundry of Divine Creation, a lost temple to Abathor. After repairing a series of contraptions and navigating through traps within the Foundry, Flint acquired the divine vestige known as Abathor's Cradle. Outside the temple, the BTMC were reunited with Flint's parents and together confronted a biomechanical behemoth, emerging victorious. Regrouping at the Deepwood Nexus, Todd experienced a vision from his goddess Melora, empowering him to forge his own path, while Flint and his parents utilized Abathor's Cradle to construct a new hearth in the wooded haven, and as a family forged a powerful new weapon for Flint. They spent the following morning discussing the details gathered about the Platt estate and planned their revenge on Noran Platt. Putting their plans into motion, the infiltration began quickly through the drains of the hidden mining facility below the Platt estate. The BTMC made quick work of the Platt enforcers and freed the captives held within. After clearing out the mines, the party went up into the residential area of the estate and found the key to Noran Platt's secret laboratory and went to confront him face to face. Noran disclosed that he and the other leaders of the Dreaming Council knew about the BTMC's hideout in the Deepwood Nexus, hinting that the demoplane might no longer be secure. As the conflict erupted, one of his recent experiments, a Shadowforged, abducted Rilyanna in a puff of shadow. Banished to a pocket dimension, Rilyanna battled these Shadowforged, only to discover that these enemies were her own family, reverting to their original forms upon defeat. After narrowly escaping death herself, Rilyanna rejoined her companions in Noran's laboratory. After defeating Noran, the party interrogated him and learned that Talos Benson, the headmaster of Frostford Mages College, was holding the remainder of Rilyanna's people captive in his own pocket dimension. In Noran's lab, they also uncovered meticulously organized correspondence with other leaders of the Deepsky Church, exposing the identities of the 7 remaining leaders. Amongst the evidence, they found copies of the blackmail material Noran had used to bribe and extort some of the Dwarven officials in Thorin. Upon presenting the newfound evidence to the remaining members of the Dwarven Noble Council, the corrupt officials were swiftly exposed and executed for treason. Following a brief celebration and full explanation of events, the BTMC was honored with a grand ball and bestowed the title Baruch Khazd, meaning Hammers of Justice. Gloria and Dunin Fireforge were appointed to council positions following the city's discovery of their survival. With the Dwarven Kingdom now cleansed of corruption and fully aware of external affairs, the BTMC has secured a powerful ally in the ongoing Abyssal War. In their latest strategic move, the BTMC has established another permanent teleportation point, linking Thorin to the Deepwood Nexus. They plan to regroup with Myles aboard the skyship and launch an attack on the Abyssal Tarask marching south, aiming to protect the inhabitants of Torbin from being assimilated into the Abyssal army.